welcome to a new video with like a special guest, somebody very important for me because he really inspired me about hypnosis. So I'm honored like to have you on the channel.
Likewise, man. Thank you,
David.
Thanks for having me.
How are you?
I'm doing great, man.
Good.
A little tired, but feeling good.
Cool. So can you introduce a little bit yourself?
Yeah, sure. I'm a magician. I'm a hypnotist. I'm a clairvoyant. And essentially what I do is I just help people feel alive and free inside themselves so that they could experience life with more ease and effortlessness. And so I do that with hypnosis, with psychic gifts, and I just combine all my skills together to help people.
Amazing. And since how long you practice hypnosis?
Hypnosis, it's been since 2008, so almost 12 years.
12 years, wow.
Yeah, it's been a good minute.
And can you say, because I know you have like a small story about hypnosis, how you become hypnosis?
Yeah, it's interesting. So I got hypnotized by a 12-year-old boy.
Wow.
So I went out to Las Vegas to go advance my skills as a magician and mentalist. I got invited out there by one of David Blaine's teachers, a guy named Jano Blazada. And so I went out there to learn magic and mentalism. And there just so happened to be two of the students in the room happened to be master hypnotists, the world's fastest hypnotists. And it was a father and son named Han Wong and Gordon Wong. And when they were there, I was just like, oh man, I've always wanted to learn hypnosis.
Okay.
You know, but I didn't know, if it was only certain people that could do it or what it was. So I remember I went up to the kid, and he's like a little 12-year-old kid wearing like a dragon shirt. And I went up to him, I'm all excited, and I'm like, hey man, I hear you're one of the best hypnotists in the world. And he just looks me dead in my eyes, just like, I am the best. And I was just like, whoa. It's like he had that Bruce Lee energy, you know? And so I asked him and his father, I'm like, can you hypnotize me? I don't know if it'll work on me. He's like, yeah, sure, on Sunday, just when we do our demonstration, just volunteer. So on the Sunday that came by, they were giving their talk about what hypnosis is and their special technique, and because they developed this technique called ZAP, which is to be able to hypnotize anyone in less than a second.
Wow.
And so that was my introduction to hypnosis, was with ZAP. It wasn't with the 20-minute relaxation induction.
Very fast.
Very fast, and so that's how I thought hypnosis went.
Okay.
And so, I volunteered, and they told me to sit in a chair, so I'm sitting in a chair in front of like 30 magicians. And I thought the father was gonna come over and do his technique on me, but the father just kind of like looked over at me, looked at his son, and he was just like, "You can take this one, son." I was just like, "What, the kid?" And I'll never forget it, because the kid just kind of comes up to me, and I remember sitting down. I was still taller than him, and so it was hard for me to take him seriously. But he just had that Bruce Lee look on his face, that confidence, and he was just like, "Will you listen to all my instructions?" And I'm like, "Sure, kid." Took my hand, told me to take a deep breath in, and then just pulled my arm, said sleep, and I went out. And that was my first experience of hypnosis, and they used it to take away my fear of spiders, and then they taught me their technique. And what most blew me away is because I had a very short lesson, like it was maybe an hour-long lesson, but when they taught me their technique, I went and I tried it, and everyone who I was trying it on, it worked instantly. And so what most blew my mind was, why is this working? Like, why is it I can go up to you, look at you a certain way, pull your arm, say sleep, now I could snap my fingers and create a reality. So it was that like obsession with wanting to know why it worked that brought me to where I am today.
Yeah. The question that we have a lot is like, does hypnosis work on everybody, or is that like how does it work really? Because I know like a lot of people have like this kind of doubt, and they're like, oh, I don't want to do it, or it's not going to work on me. So what is your experience about that?
Yeah, it's a great question. I mean, the simple answer is that yes, everyone can be hypnotized, but not everyone's ready to get hypnotized. They might not be willing, they might be very resistant, they might have a more challenging time than others to let go. But at the end of the day, it's a natural state. We go into hypnosis about 7 to 10 times a day naturally, as you know. When we daydream, we're going into hypnosis. If we're reading a book and we're seeing the imagination of the characters in our minds and it feels real to us, that's a state of hypnosis, because really we're just looking at words. So really what we're doing with hypnosis is we're hacking into the part of the mind that we use when we dream at night. You know, when we dream, it doesn't matter what's going on, you believe it's real automatically. So hypnosis is hacking into that dream state and making it and bringing it to the forefront so you can dream with eyes open.
Okay.
So everyone's able to do it. It's just some people require a little bit more effort than others.
Okay.
Yeah.
So everybody has this potential.
Everyone has this potential. If you have a brain, you can be hypnotized.
Nice.
Yeah.
What can you advise to people who would like to learn hypnosis?
Honestly, I would advise my online course. You know, like so you know, I'm someone who spent a lot of time and money training with all the best mentors you could think of, and the one thing that none of them were really able to teach me, like I learned lots of great techniques and inductions and stuff, but it was a lot of the same information over and over again. And what I was really looking for was why the techniques work. Like, how do I know when to say sleep? How do I know how to approach this? I didn't want to just mechanical, do this, then that, then this, then that. I wanted it to be so simple that, you know, like a 9-year-old could understand it. So the way I learned that was I just went into the streets. You know, I had to teach myself. So I went in the streets and I failed tons of times and I succeeded a lot. But eventually, as I was doing it, I started to learn the intuitive understanding of hypnosis. Like, what was it really that was making it work? So with that, I felt so inspired by it. I'm like, I want to teach this to my mentors. You know, this is the one thing that I've been asking them. So that was actually the inspiration that created Master Hypnosis, the course, was to gift it to my mentors. And it just ended up being something that everyone else loved. So ultimately, it's what I wish I had when I was getting into hypnosis. So if you guys want to learn hypnosis, check out Master Hypnosis.
Yeah, sure. We'll put the link below, and I can also give a testimonial because I did the course, and for sure it gave me like so much insight, so much understanding, and it's quite, if I can say, yeah, very accurate, and you can actually learn to be a hypnotist in like maybe not even 1 week. I mean, to learn the basic. After it's like for sure experience, but it's very like amazing the way like you can explain it. It's very clear, very accurate. So really, if you want to learn, then check the link for sure.
Definitely, yeah. Thank you. It's really, I made sure there was no fluff, you know, because I find like a lot of teachings, a lot of trainings from like really great hypnotists, they're so boring. You know, like you literally fall asleep watching it. You know, so I wanted to, you know, make sure it was fun to learn. It was really simple. You can go through the whole thing in like maybe 2 hours, and then of course it's practicing it. You know, some people hypnotize the first person that day, some people take a week, and you know, it depends on the level of dedication from there.
Sure.
Yeah.
I think I remember like the first lesson I spent like the whole night to watch it. It was so exciting, so
No,
so you can really do it fast.
Yeah, cool.
More than just a hypnotist, I know you are a lot into energy. Also, you're doing a lot of psychic abilities.
Yeah.
So, can you tell us more about it? What is it for you?
About what is psychic abilities? The simple understanding is just they're your energetic senses. You know, so for example, you know, if you've ever had the experience of you're about to go do a business deal and everything makes sense logically, but something just feels off. There's no logical reason for it. That's your psychic sense. It's your intuitive sense. You know, and so this shows up for us in different ways. It might be, you know, you're about to drive home a certain way, but something's telling you, no, don't go that way, turn a different way. That's not one of our 5 senses. That's what people would call our 6th sense. There's actually a 7th, 8th. It goes on. You know, that's a whole other story. But so that's what our psychic senses are. It's our energetic sense that allows us to perceive the invisible world or the non-physical reality and navigate through it to better experience our physical reality.
So everything with out of our 5 senses.
Yes.
Like something that, like you say, intuition. I'm sure like all of you experimented one time, but then we didn't learn how to use it.
Exactly, and it's something that can be cultivated. You know, so it usually starts off in a very basic form. You know, when we're kids, it's fully lit. You know, we're very in tune with our gifts, but it gets conditioned out of us in most cases. But we always keep a basic level intuition. You know, and I like to give the example of, you know, anytime if a woman or a guy has ever dated a douchebag, right? And they've dated douchebag after douchebag after douchebag, and then finally they're like, you know what, I'm done with this. I deserve better, and they finally raise their standards and they actually stay true to that. From that day forward, they will be able to sense a douchebag from a mile away before they even open their mouth. They're like, I don't know how I know, that's just a douchebag. So that's our intuitive senses, that's our psychic senses. Now those of us who practice cultivating that by being passionate about honoring our spirit and our purpose, the more we follow our passion and excitement and purpose, that nourishes and ignites our spiritual gifts. So that's where people start to experience more than just the basic level senses, but you experience clairvoyance and channeling and feeling people's energy and reading people and communicating with other beings. It gets, there's levels, you know, so it's a lot like, I look at it like martial arts.
Okay.
You know, in martial arts, there's white belt to black belt. So you might start off with a white belt intuition, but if you keep to cultivate it, you can get to black belt. And there's also different styles of intuition, right? There's karate, there's kung fu, there's psychics who read past lives, there's psychics who help you connect to your higher self. There's psychics who can remove emotional wounds and heal them. So there's different styles.
Nice.
Yeah.
So for those who have this kind of interest into that, can you give like maybe just like a maybe simple trick, something that they can start? You know?
Yeah, absolutely. That's a great question because there's a lot of fluff out there. So here's the foundation. This is the first step for everybody, and it's the idea that the sooner you let go of who you think you need to be, the sooner you become more of who you truly are. And this is just a principle for feeling better in life, for happiness. But imagine that when you were a kid and you're in tune with your essence and you're in your state of purity, you're on one, call it radio station in your consciousness. And from this radio station, you're in tune with your gifts, you see imaginary friends, you could feel energy, but then you get conditioned, right? You have to become more serious, more rigid, more tough, more of who you think you need to be. And so it's not that you've lost your psychic gifts, it's just that you've changed your inner radio station. And so the more we let go of who we think we need to be and be like, well, I'm actually not a tough person, I'm actually a very sensitive person, that's going closer. I'm actually not very serious, I'm more playful, that's going closer. And so these are all very practical ways that you can return to your soul's nature and personality. And the more we remove those things, the more you remember your gifts. So you're not actually learning anything new, it comes back online and you're just like, oh yeah, you know, of course this is how reality works. But so that's the most practical foundational first step.
Nice. So again, you were saying that we all have these abilities and capacity, you know, to get connected to this energy.
That's what it is, because if you think about it, all you're really doing is you're enlightening yourself. You know, so if you're someone who, let's just say, who feels serious and rigid about life, but then you learn to lighten up. So you go back to being more playful because you learn to follow your excitement and your inspirations more, and then you give to yourself more. You just lighten up and lighten up and lighten up, right? You feel lighter inside your body. Well, your energetic gifts exist on a lighter plane of reality, if I could use that term. So as you raise your frequency, you get into the radio station where your gifts are, which are light codes, if I could use those words.
So David, if some people would like to contact you or like to learn from you, how does it work?
So if you want to check me out, best place to check me out is Instagram, YouTube, Facebook. My name, David Lion like the animal, and my website is livingmagic.life. So that's www.livingmagic.life. That's where you can find info about all my products, my services, and just what I'm up to in the world.
I'm gonna make all the link below, so make sure you check also like the YouTube channel because it's amazing. Like the street hypnosis, it gives a good example that what can be hypnosis, and it's really amazing. So
thank you, brother.
Thank you.
I appreciate you, man.
And see you soon.
Yes.
All the best.
Yes, likewise.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And see you in the next video. Bye.